Hello and welcome. Today, we're breaking down the upcoming Bank of Canada interest rate decision, scheduled for October 29, 2025, and what it could mean for Canadian households, investors, and the economy. Markets and economists are closely watching this announcement, and will explain the factors, potential outcomes, and their implications. Let's start with the big picture. Right now, the Bank of Canada's policy rate is at 2.50%, and most economists and market instruments expect a 25 basis point cut to 2.25%. The probability of this happening is roughly 75 to 80%, based on swap market data and recent surveys. However, it's not that simple. While economic growth is slowing, inflation data, especially core inflation, has shown signs of persistence. This means the BOC is balancing two competing priorities, controlling inflation and supporting a slowing economy. So, what are the key factors that the Bank of Canada will consider? First, inflation. The latest Consumer Price Index, or CPI, was 2.4% year-over-year in September 2025. That's slightly higher than expected. Core inflation, which removes volatile items like food and energy, is still elevated, meaning that prices aren't falling as quickly as the BOC would like. Second, labor market. Employment numbers have been mixed. Some months saw gains, while others indicate a cooling job market. A weakening labor market would support a rate cut, while strong employment could push the BOC to hold rates steady. Third, economic growth. Indicators like retail sales, business investment, and housing activity point to slower growth. The economy is showing signs of slack, suggesting that monetary easing could be appropriate. Fourth, market expectations. Short-term interest rate swaps and futures markets indicate that traders are pricing in a high probability of a 25 basis point cut. These market signals are closely monitored by both the BOC and investors. Now, let's explore the three most plausible outcomes for October 29th. Outcome 1 to 25 BPs cut, which is most likely. This scenario carries the highest probability, around 75%. A 25 basis point reduction to 2.25% would lower borrowing costs, stimulate economic activity, and benefit variable rate borrowers. The Canadian dollar may weaken slightly, while equities and rate-sensitive sectors could see a modest boost. Outcome to hold at 2.50%. This is a less likely scenario, with roughly 20% probability. If inflation remains sticky or employment surprises on the upside, the BOC could hold rates steady. This would signal caution and preserve flexibility for future adjustments. The Canadian dollar might strengthen, and markets would adjust their expectations for future cuts. Outcome 3. Larger cut greater than 25 BP. A more aggressive cut is unlikely, with only about 5% probability. This could occur if the economy sharply deteriorates or if employment weakens suddenly. Such a move would push short-term rates lower, weaken the Canadian dollar further, and inject more liquidity into the market. Now, big question, who is most affected by the BOC's decision? Variable mortgage holders would see immediate relief if banks pass on the cut. Fixed-rate borrowers may see minimal impact in the short term since their rates are tied to longer-term bonds. Equity markets could react positively in rate-sensitive sectors, while financials may respond differently. Canadian dollar and bond yields will react to both the decision and the BOC's forward guidance. Before the announcement, keep an eye on these items: any new inflation or core CPI data, labor market surprises or employment reports, swap and futures pricing, which reflect real-time market expectations, speeches from Bank of Canada officials, global developments, like commodity prices or trade tensions, which can influence the BOC's decision. In conclusion, the most likely outcome is a 25 basis point cut, but sticky inflation and mixed labor market data make the decision finely balanced. The Bank of Canada's choice on October 29th will impact everything from mortgages to the Canadian dollar, so staying informed is key. We'll be watching closely and updating you with the results as soon as the announcement is made. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on Canada's economic news. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you think the BOC will act?